The nobility of human perfection. Perfection is present within the details of every human being, and it is present in the way that nature presents herself, naked and fierce, without the slightest hesitation or apology. Yet it is often remarked, and correctly so, that man is not perfect. If man contains perfection within him, why is it that he is not perfect? I will state at this juncture that this discourse is not an attempt to provide excuses to explain away the apparent imperfection of man, for the status quo is something I have rigorously rejected throughout my life and career. Rather, the question I'm posing is an invitation to step foot onto the path toward human perfection. You will hear from those whom I have the pleasure to counsel that if there is a central tenet to my guidance of them, it lies in abandoning the notion of compromise. You see, the concept of compromise arises in things about which one is not passionate. But what purpose can compromise possibly serve in that which is at the very essence of a human life? Shall a man compromise his freedom? Shall he compromise his right of will? Shall he compromise his state of peace? Shall he compromise on the quality of his art? Shall he compromise his right to attain human perfection? The first 3 or 4 will, without a doubt, engender full support. The final one, however, will perhaps raise a brow, at least for some, for it collides with the murky dimension of personal belief systems. The world has always taught us that no one is perfect. We have upon numerous occasions proclaimed, with almost a tinge of pride, that I am not perfect. Further, the very notion of perfection is saturated with awkward connotations such as being uptight, critical, demanding, and zealous. There is great behavioral evidence for us to confidently claim that we are not perfect, but that is not the question that I'm exploring. The question is not, have you behaved perfectly? To which the answer is a resounding no. The question is, what precisely would your daily existence feel like if you entered into a journey to attain human perfection? One of man's greatest treasures is also his greatest downfall, and that is his skill of adaptability. He can adapt to a life of freedom, and he can adapt to a life of imprisonment. And that which he is exposed to most often, he becomes. Thus, we naturally consider ourselves as flawed human beings because flaws have been a part of our daily experience for as long as we can remember. As a result, any and all ideas to the contrary are immediately met with skepticism. But perhaps if we learned from where such flaws arose, we might learn to see through fresh eyes. Perhaps if we learned that the flaws in our behavior and our outlook are not intrinsic to our humanity, a new possibility would appear before us. Shall I provide you with a glimpse of this new possibility? Shall I share with you an insight to which only a handful of human beings in the history of human civilization have ever been privy to? I will do so, and I will do it without fanfare. I will speak the truth stark and unadorned, for this is one of the things that informs my decision of accepting only a small fraction of the consultation requests that come my way. They are taken aback at my polite and respectful refusal of their query, and this is understandable for people who have reached such a publicly celebrated and rarefied station in the world. People who are in the public eye and can have anything they want in the world are not accustomed to being denied. But this is the journey for the rare few who walk among us. It is a journey for the man or woman who seeks to sincerely attain, despite all the fame and riches, that which has always eluded them. It is a journey for the human being who wishes to hold the entirety of his life in the palm of his hand. I will now share with you a glimpse of the great truths. I will not attempt to convince you, nor harbor a shred of hope that you will keep an open mind, for that is entirely up to you. For this, my dear friend, is not a matter of the wayward mind. It is a matter of the human heart. Here it is. The reason that man lives with flaws, the reason that he experiences constant imperfection, the reason that he lives a roller coaster existence filled with happiness followed by misery, the reason that he is rarely able to piece together 2 consecutive days of complete peace, the reason that he knows not equanimity, the reason that he lives in a state of endless minor conflicts, the reason that his existence is punctuated by jerky starts and stops, the reason that he does not create a masterpiece with every attempt, the reason that he has not attained human perfection, is because he lives as his mind instead of with his mind. You have always been told that the mind can move mountains, and what you have been told is true, but oh how the errors of omission hobble a human being. What has been omitted is the one insight without which the mind cannot move a snow pea, much less a mountain. And that is this. In order to have the mind move mountains for you, you must first learn to make it your pet. You must learn to contain it under your thumb. And once this is done, you are in for a grand surprise. Your life undergoes a cataclysmic transformation. You suddenly no longer see things through the prism of the mind. You see things as they are, in high definition and complete clarity. You see the deep red of the roses, and you notice the imperceptible movement of the clouds. You instantly understand the heart of the one you're speaking to, and you can often read their thoughts, and mark my words, they will be stunned by your ability to see into them. Once the mind no longer has control over you, you become free. For make no mistake, true freedom is not freedom of mind, but freedom from mind. The path to human perfection is your noble birthright. Thus it can be stated with complete confidence that it is not a question of whether human beings should attempt to become more than they are. Rather, they can become that which they were created to be. They need not search for new treasures in the desert. Rather, they can reclaim the treasures they have lost. They need not set off to conquer new lands. Rather, they can understand that the only thing their heart has forever longed for is to return home. To err may be human, but the journey toward human perfection is divine.